Elio guys, and welcome back. And in today's video we're taking a look at the lovely Nightmares, who recently got a ultimate evolution literally out of nowhere, no rework whatsoever either, so this should be very interesting here. So we're starting off with the lovely Fire Nightmare. She is a defender as well, and she's sitting at 35,000 HP, 3k attack, and then 3.9k defense. And I want to say that they do an excellent job, especially with the ultimate evolution monsters, of making them look super cool. And Nightmare has always looked pretty cool in my opinion, but it's nice seeing her look even better, and her little shield right here, which isn't little at all, take up more of the screen. So say hello to the girl with the extremely long name that kind of bleeds into her skills. But if we take a look at her skills though, for her 3-star skill is defense down, and this grants an 80% chance to reduce the enemy's defense for 2 turns. And then for the 5-star skill, there's an 80% chance to inflict blind on an enemy for 3 turns, which helps for your team to take less crit damage, which is always very useful, especially with this kit. And by useful, I mean by no means is this useful whatsoever. She is still as useless as the day that she was born into the game. Smart Steady, you're out here releasing ultimate evolutions and nothing has changed. Why would you do that? Why? But anyways, with her ultimate skill, she does receive defense aggression, which is nice. So once her HP gets below 50%, then she does become stronger here. But there's nothing in her kit other than the defense down to help with that damage. So it's not really that amazing unless you like the aesthetics of her. But taking a look at her skill books though, defense down does receive a 15% damage boost and goes up to 100% for 2 turns, if I am correct. Yep. And then blind also receives a 20% damage boost and goes up to 90% for 3 turns. Yeah, 90% for 3 turns. Honestly, even with that whole defense aggression being added up there is really no reason outside of just aesthetics to build this one, because you can bring in other mons that do defense down, and you can bring in other mons that do blind. And I wanted to say you could use her for Apophis here, but why would you bring her in over literally anyone else? I mean, it's none of my business, but this one right here is purely for the Astro Guide, and hence why she's sitting at Evo 2 in terms of my lovely Astro Guide in itself here, you guys. And then next up we have the lovely and very annoying Water Nightmare with her ultimate evolution, and she is a tank type sitting with 40,000 HP, 2.8k attack, and then 2.9k defense. She's a tank, plenty of HP, things check out. Her defense stat is almost 3k. I can't complain, or I could, but no one's gonna listen to me anyways. But taking a look at the skills here, 3-star skill, 100% chance for her to inflict seal on an enemy for 3 turns, and sealed foes passive skills do not activate. Very interesting. And then for the 5-star skill, there is the lovely Adrenaline, which her attacks restore allies HP into an amount equal to 10% of her own max HP. Very nice, because she does have plenty of HP as a tank, and it can be very annoying, especially for newer players out there facing the lovely Water Nightmares in Clan vs Clan, because yeah, even though her name is Nightmare, fighting her at times with no DPS to kind of burst her down is an absolute nightmare. So I would say that she is definitely more usable than the Fire one. And then with the addition of her ultimate evolution here, she also receives offense and defense. So upon using a super skill, it increases attack power by 30% and the defense of the entire squad by 50% for all allies for 2 turns. I'm down with that. I think that synergizes well, not necessarily with her kit, but because she's just a naturally tanky astromon to begin with, and the main selling point of her is the adrenaline that she can help to support the squad even more. So it's more so of her punishing you if you don't make her pass away ASAP, versus her being even tankier than what she is here. But I guess that kind of makes sense too with the whole offense and defense, once again boosting up her defense. So not only does she have a lot of HP, but her defense temporarily goes up as well. But taking a look at the books, Seal receives a whopping 30% damage increase because it's already at its maximum potential. And then Adrenaline receives a 25% damage increase. I'm not sure why they didn't want to boost up the Adrenaline up to maybe 15%. Maybe they considered that OP at the time, but I don't know. I wish it was up to 15%. Not saying that I personally would throw some books into her, but it would at least make it worthwhile here, because this is pure damage and she isn't here to do damage. So a very solid PvP unit, and by solid I mean she's definitely usable. There are obviously better choices out there, but if you have nothing else, feel free to put that baby girl to Evo 2, just like the Nightmare in my photo right here, and rock with her until you get something better. And if you really like her kit, then feel free to Ultimate Evo her. And then alright, next up we do have Wood Nightmare, who is a defender type. She's sitting at 34k HP, 2.8k attack, and then 4k defense, man. Finally, something with style, something with spice. And yes, you do see a Evo 3 check mark over here in terms of my Astro Guide. This is my Evo 3 freaking Wood Nightmare, because at a point in time she was very interesting for PvP. Draka came, Draka's still here, but things have died down, so she could still be interesting. I just haven't really gotten around to changing my PvP team at all because, well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about a Nightmare here. So taking a look at her skills, her 3-star skill grants her a 100% chance to restore 50% of her own SP when attacking. This is great because the move literally leads over here to her 5-star skill, which, no surprise to anyone, is the exact same as Water Nightmare. We can see that the early Smart Study was very creative here, and they only had 5 moves to use, and they literally took those 5 moves and just knocked it down to 2 and put it on every astromon in the game at that point in time, which is why I was like, if she's getting an Ultimate Evolution, why not rework her, maybe give her like a different leader skill, something, but nope. But anyways, Adrenaline, just the same as the lovely Water Nightmare, restores allies' HP equal to 10% of her own max HP. Yes, her HP is a lot less, but her defense is also quite a bit more. And then for her ultimate skill though, she does get damage reduction, which says when her HP is at 50% or below, she can reduce the damage received by 50% for 1 turn. That's nothing to scoff at either, but the main issue with Wood Nightmare, and I'll tell you guys straight up, is that, you know, if you can't kill her, that's great. But other than that, she's literally just sitting there healing the squad. Like, she's not necessarily a passive healer because Adrenaline's on the 5-star skill, but she's literally just there to heal. That's it. So with books here, she does receive a whopping 30% damage increase on that morale boost, which her main selling point isn't damage. And then her adrenaline is also 25%. So the Nightmare books are just sad, man. They're giving damage to a unit that isn't used for damage whatsoever. Why? Once again, definitely a PvP unit. I do believe mine at some point in time was on a Pugilist set because she does have that morale boost with adrenaline as well. My thought process behind that was, if I'm going to heal the squad, hopefully I can stun whoever that I'm fighting too. Like, that's pretty much it, but hey, at least she looks cool. Alright, up next we do have the light and dark versions of this baby girl, and with the Primo Festival right around the corner, maybe this will pique one of your guys' interest, I would hope. But we do have the lovely Light Nightmare. She is a defender type coming in with 35k HP, 2.8k attack, and then 4.3k defense. So a little bit more defense and HP versus the wood one, but she is light elemental, meaning if she gets hit by Darkmon, well, it's going to hurt like a butt cheek on a stick. So taking a look at the lovely skills, 3-star skill, SP Siphon, you know, her hitting the enemy siphons out X amount of their SP away from them. Very great for crowd control and preventing mons from getting their 5-star skills off so she can get them off instead. And I don't mean like that. Wow, unbelievable. But anyways, taking a look at the 5-star skill, resistance down grants a 100% chance to reduce the enemy's resistance for 2 turns. This is great because if you can think of another astromon by the name of Light Griffin here, if you had crowd control mons like Yuki, heck, if you have Dark Yuki, Light Leo, etc., mons that dish out debuffs, this is great for making sure that sticks. Same thing for stun. So we do have some viability right there. And then for the ultimate skill, she also has Fearless Taunt, where she basically can kind of mitigate some of the damage that she takes, which is very nice, and this lasts for 2 turns if it does indeed stick. But the damage reduction only goes for 1 turn, so do keep that in mind as well. But she can kind of naturally draw the attention of whoever's fighting to hit her instead, which could be good or bad depending on what other mons that you're running with her composition here. So I would say that she's a bit niche in terms of use, but she isn't super niche to the point of where I wouldn't recommend her whatsoever. And especially with this whole Ultimate Evolution as well, the nice boost in stats is definitely welcomed, and as long as you have crowd control mons to pair up with her, I don't really see a reason why you shouldn't use her at this point in time. But SP Siphon does receive a 20% damage boost and goes up to a whopping 40% of that SP being taken. Very interesting. And then resistance down also receives a 20% damage boost, and it goes up to, is that 3 turns? Wow, that is 3 turns. Okay. Finally some spice with these books, but so far all of the nightmares are like hell bent on being like PvP / clan versus clan mons, which is kind of sad for newer players out there, because even if they pull her, their gem quality is just going to be so dirt nasty bad that they're never going to touch her, and then you eventually pull something that's just better than her naturally, and you just never use Nightmare whatsoever. That's the biggest issue with Nightmare, and why I was hoping for not necessarily a revamp of all of the elements, but at least a tweak or two for some of them. Like, come on, man. Alright, and then coming in hot, we do have Dark Nightmare, who is also, spoiler alert, a tank type. I made her variant because she looks like a Tales of Symphonia boss, and she's coming in with 45k HP, 2.5k attack, and then 2.8k defense. Why does her stat seem slightly lower than the water one? She does have more HP though, so maybe it's that. But let's take a look at these skills. So, for her 3-star skill, no surprise to anyone, she has morale boost, which we've gone over with the lovely wood one, where this basically helps her get to her 5-star skill ASAP, and the 5-star skill is seal, with a 90% chance to seal the enemy's passive skills for 3 turns. Definitely a good rate, definitely a good duration. It's just that seal, in my opinion, isn't super amazing whatsoever. I mean, Water Nightmare gets a pass on it because at least she has adrenaline to make up for it, but I don't know. It just feels a little bit lackluster having seal as your 5-star skill when there's just a lot better moves out there. And this also supports my theory of freaking Smart Study only using 5 skills and assigning 2 of those skills multiple times to the same unit during the beginning stages of the game and just never changing it. Like, why is this a thing? Why? But anyways, taking a look at the ultimate skill, she does have full buff breaker, which grants her 90% chance to dispel all enemies' enhancements, including shields and immunity. So that's actually some usage in there for her finally, if you get that lovely super skill to go off, which I believe is every 3rd 5-star skill, which she does have morale boost, so she could actually spam that instead. So while seal isn't super amazing by itself, I do think having that full buff breaker slid into there could make for a little bit more viability, especially if she's on like a pugilist set, which I used in my previous example of Wood Nightmare. So there is definitely some potential of Light and Dark Nightmare becoming a little bit more viable in PvP nowadays, so I'm interested to see how that basically affects PvP, because everyone and their mom is just using Light and Dark purses, so hopefully we can also see some Light and Dark Nightmares in there too, so we can just cuss more. But anyways, taking a look at the skill books, Morale Boost receives a whopping 25% damage increase. Doesn't matter, 2.5k attack stat, no one asked. And then Seal also receives a 20% damage increase and goes up to 100% once again, I believe, for 3 turns. That's it, you guys. That is the Nightmares. Definitely needed a revamp or a tweak, but this is what we got. She looks awesome. Basically, the takeaway from this video, I would say Light and Dark are both usable. It just may take, you know, some finessing with them. Outside of that, the RGB Wood is interesting, at least on paper. Water is also interesting, but really, I mean, if you have Light or Dark, maybe use one of those two. But outside of that, I don't really see much viability for the Nightmares at this point in time, even with the ultimate evolutions being added here. Now, I could definitely be wrong because of that damage reduction on Wood Nightmare, but things will hopefully pan out. And by the way, if you guys use any of the Nightmares, especially every single day, feel free to leave in the comments below of where you use her at and why you use her, because I could have possibly missed out on something while recording this video. And yeah, that's Nightmare. She looks great. Definitely unnecessary, but I have no control over that, you guys. But hopefully, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.